Hey, Carrie here, and welcome back to Scrapbook Your Legacy with Carrie. And thank you for stopping by and watching the videos. Today, I am stepping back into my pet album to continue working on that. And I'm also digging into my stash. And I wanted to encourage you, if you're feeling overwhelmed with getting back in and maybe what you have, is just go through your stash and just kind of revisit it and refreshed and maybe get excited again about the things that you do have that you might have forgotten about. And so I have a lot of pet papers that I need to use up, and I bought them for the purpose of this album. And so I just figure I need to work on it. So I've done a cat video, and now I'm working on our new dog, Fern. So here she is. That's from April, and you might hear her in the background whining. She's just having a tough time of it, and I love this picture. I mean, those ears, she has grown into those ears, but I mean, how cute is that? I don't know if it's going to come in any clearer. Anyway, these are the photos. I'm going to have one that's covered up because, like I said, I don't have permission to show the people in that video. But this is what I'm scrapbooking today is the day we picked her up and brought her home. I am using Go Fetch, and these are the papers that I'm going to be using. So there's a fun little hero paper that's the paw prints and bones. The flip side of that is this red paper, which I'm actually using it for some tags. And then I'm going to use this yellow paper and the blue paper, and they will look nice because it's, got a lot of green in these photos, to be honest. There's a lot of green because we're in the yard. And then my husband's shirt is this light blue. So, and oddly enough, Fern, depending on the lighting, has a little bit of blue in her. So anyway, these are the papers that we're using. They're from 2024 collection called Go Fetch. And I'm going to bring in some other pieces from my stash. I am going to use a sketch today, and I am actually altering it a bit to fit my photos. You're going to see that there's a 4x4, a 3x4, and then 4x6s. I cannot give you measurements for this because this is a creative design team sketch, but I am allowed to show it to you. So instead of doing full 4x6s, these are all going to be 3x4s, and these are going to be a 3x4s as well, going vertically. So I'm changing it, and then this 4x4 is going to be a 3x4. So I'm changing up some of the things that you see here, but this is the sketch that's being used, and that is what we're going to get going with. And then I'll share some things that I have done. So this is side one I have already done and stuck down to the paper. And I'm using a white background just so that, these papers are, they're tone on tones. They're not super busy, but there's enough going on with the papers. I think the white brings in a nice way to just rest the eye. So this is how we're getting started. And then this is going to be, I matted the photos. I'm not doing anything like inking them this time. I probably could, but I'm not. So this is how I'm doing it. I'm going to overlap them a little bit to create some space between them and the background. And then this is, I gotta move this over a little bit. It's my husband and I driving back with her. And yes, I'm not really fully in the photo, but I was trying to get a picture of her. She was crying so hard in the car as we were driving away. It just broke my heart. All right, so I'm going to get these papers down over here, and I'll just get going with this. But yes, I want to encourage you to just visit your stash and get excited about the papers you have. When we forget what we have and, go shopping in our own stash, so to speak, then it's, makes everything new again and just mixing things in. But yes, this is a simple layout. And so I'm excited to get this done. and get going with the pet album a little bit more. But yes, so Fern, her story, I'll tell you a little bit about it, is that, you know, we had a dog we rescued our first dog. We actually went to the pound to look at another dog that we saw in the newspaper. And we thought you know, it was time to, you know, we had been in our house almost a year, and we thought it was time to bring in a pet. And our boys were old enough that we thought we could bring in a dog. And we had cats up in Connecticut when we were up there. And one of my sons is, oh, shoot. All right, let's lift that up. All right, and let me pause this for a second, and I'll come back. This is going to take a bit to lay down the piece that I'm going to put on here, so I'll be right back. All right, we are back. I got that down. So what I did is I attached this smaller piece to this blue piece, and I did not want you to have to sit through that trying to keep it straight and have it just the right way. So anyway, we back to the dog story. So when we first got here, we had been seeing these dogs in the pound, you know, that are in the pound in the papers. You know, every week they would show a dog. And there was this one dog that was just so cute, and my husband just fell in love with the picture. And I'm like, well, this was like in February of '08. So we're like, you know, let's just go and see if the dog is even there, and, you know, see what we do. All right, here we go. Now we're going to come back in with this, and I want to make sure that I have that all situated. Here we go. Okay, so we got that. So even though I spent time on that strip, and you could cut it out, it's a little covered up. All right, and then we're going to lay down these photos. And well, it doesn't really matter how I had them. We're just going to put that one up there, and we'll do that one, and we'll have these right here. So I might bring this down a little bit. I don't have a cut title, but anyway, so we went to the pound. You know, I keep getting lost on the story. We went to the pound to see about a dog, and then when we got there, that dog was gone, but we saw our Amber in a cage, and she was way in the back corner. All right, and this one's going to be right down here. So that's how that's going to go. I thought I had it done differently. Maybe I had it up here. Well, we'll see. We're going to do that right now. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, never mind, because I changed the sketch. I had a journal box, and I fussy cut this out. So that's going to come in right here. That's how I'm doing it. So we're going to just line everything up, and we'll put it all down. So anyway, so we got we got Amber. You know, we had tried, you know, we took her into her room, and, you know, and spent some time with her, and we had looked at other dogs that day too, but she really bonded, especially with my husband. She always went right to him. And I mean, it was a love affair for her with my husband from the day we got her. It's just really, it's just something how she just fell in love with him. And then, you know, when he was traveling, then she was all about me. So it worked out well. All right, let me put this one down. But anyway, so we, you know, brought her home, and we had her for a good 13 years from that point. She lived to be, you know, 13 and a half, but we had her for 13 years. And she was just a delight. We really loved her. And so her story will come up in here, but she was just sweet. I don't remember where I was going with that. But anyway, so we had rescued her, and then she passed away, and my husband wanted another dog really badly. And so we went back to the pound to see what they had. And we had been looking a little bit and just I don't know, we just struggled with the pound this time. But we found one, and brought him home, and his pictures might show up at some point here too. But we ended up only having him for a short time. as we had some things happen within the family that were out of our control, and he ended up being more of a foster dog. We got him trained, and then we had to find a place for him. But he went in a strong way, and that was something. So now we took a 3-year break to find this little girl. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some magic here and have these pictures stuck down. So I'll be right back. All right, so the pictures are stuck down, and like I was saying, this is the day that we picked up Fern and brought her home. I have the pictures. I don't think I'll do that on a video, but that's, I will show you though. I'll wait till I'm done with this. Let's just stay focused here. But yeah, comment below. Do you have any pet stories, rescues? You know, this, Fern we got from a breeder. We felt like we had done our time rescuing and just felt it was time to go a little different direction. And I feel like these might be a little, let's see if these are, something just seems a little off. So let's try it this way. Just seemed a little crooked. Sometimes it is, it is what it is. All right, so photos are down, and now we're gonna start embellishing. So I've got a sticker here that says our new puppy. And in the sketch, it shows that there's a cluster here, a cluster here, and a cluster here. And I'm changing up just a little bit. I'm following this a little bit. I do not have my title cut, but it will be Welcome Fern or Welcome Home. It's gonna be something like that. So we're just gonna follow along. So instead of that big cluster up there, I'm just gonna do, I've got this little sticker because I'm gonna have a bigger cluster here and here. So we're just gonna put this one down. But yeah, comment below on any pet stories you have, any unique rescue stories. Our Amber, who is not pictured here, she was a rescue, like I said. And all right, so these tags, like I get going on the story, and then I cut these from one of the sides of the paper and then the blue paper that you see here to carry it out. And what I did is I cut this stripe paper that you see right here. I cut it at a quarter inch. Is that a quarter inch or an eighth inch? All right, so depending on the kind of trimmer you use, your trimmer might actually show an 1/8 inch, and it might not. Our trimmer does not show the 1/8 inch, but if you can, I can't even talk. If you see this dotted line here, this is the cutting line. The very next dotted line over is an 1/8 inch. Okay, so that's how I measured it. I just lined up the paper with this second dotted line right over there. So that's how I got that. That's the 1/8 inch mark. So I have these two tags, and I'm gonna put them under, let me make sure that you can see this. So one's gonna go like this. I'm gonna have to cut these. And so just in cutting this strip of paper, I cut it a couple inches long, and then I tacked it down so it's like a little ribbon, okay? And I am gonna have to cut it. So I'm gonna put this in behind this photo. So I am gonna need to cut that a little bit. So I'm gonna get out my scissors and cut this down and kind of cut it just super short. And then this will go in behind here, and that works. And then I'm gonna do the same for this. I did the same thing, and I'm just gonna cut it down short. So if you don't have string, you can use your papers to create ribbon. All right, so I like how that looks there. How that looks, is my English correct tonight? I don't know. Let me get that in there enough. And then what I like is that we're breaking through some of the lines here, which is always nice to do, so that you're not just in the boundaries all the time. All right, so that one I'm just going to tilt down a little bit, and I'll have some stuff to go there. I have this little sticker that says part of the family, And we're gonna put that over here. And because I've got our deck right here, I can cover up quite a bit of that. So I'm gonna come in and do that and have that go right along there. All right, and then we'll have the title here. And then on this side, all right, I've already got that down. I also have 2 of these, and that's gonna come in here. So let's tack that down, 2 of these tags. And, you know, the tag punch isn't available with Creative Memories anymore, but you can still create tags just by cutting a rectangle and like, let me show you with a sample. All right, if we have a sample like this, all right, that could be a tag about that size. All right, then what I would do if you have a hole punch, I would punch a hole, and then you can just use a corner rounder. Just to, you know, you can either snip it with scissors, okay, and create a triangle, you know, cut. Well, I want to be able to use this, but well, you know what? We'll just cut either end. So you could either do something like this, all right? It might not be, it's not going to be perfect, and then do a hole punch, all right? But you could also, let me cut this off. We're gonna murder it. Use a hole, you know, the corner rounder, all right, and then do a hole punch. And then you could also use the flip side of this. Let's do that. Let me stay in. All right, so you can use the flip side and you get another interesting shape. Can you see that? All right, so you could do it the other way, round it, or you could do it this way and still punch a hole. Or you could even put like one of those epoxy dots there, you know. And so you can very easily create a tag doing any one of those iterations that I just gave you if you don't have a tag punch. So that's what I would do. All right, so this blue one I just put down, and I am going to cut these little strings down a little bit. And then, where's my repositionable? Here it is. All right, let me just, there we go. Okay, and then I've got the other red one. And so this is what, you know, just to show you how I did it, all right? I just put this through like that, and then I just fold it. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to be cutting it like that. And then I just put some adhesive right here. It's repositionable adhesive, so I can rub it off. It's not going to make a big deal there. Let me get that down. Make sure I'm in frame and that you can see it. All right, so we'll do that, and then I'll do this side. And you could use the flip side of these papers too, or whatever papers you have. You know, if it's not Creative Memories, use what you have. Like, it doesn't have to be Creative Memories. All right, so I have that, and then I'm gonna stick that down and get some of that off. But yeah, you could use the flip side, see, and that would look cute too. All right, so let's do that, and I'm gonna have this kind of hang down over here too. Get that back in there, good. Okay, and then I'm gonna cut these down a little bit. There we go. And tack that down a little bit better. And then I just rub off the other stuff. Now this doesn't seem like it's down very well. So there we go. Okay, that'll be my journal box. Need a journal box to tell the story. So yes, we had gone on vacation, came back, and it was our day to pick her up. And I was so nervous picking her up because we hadn't had a puppy in so long. And when we got Amber was 7 months old when she came to us. So, you know, this is 8 weeks old. And, or actually, I think by the time we picked her up, because we had to be out of town for a little bit, she might have been 9 or 10 weeks old. All right, so I have some cute little stickers for up over here. So we're gonna get those down. Let me get that out of the way. And we'll put that right there. And then I've got the puppy. So we'll put the puppy up on foam squares. Do some fun stuff with the foam squares. because we need foam squares to bring dimension to our pages and create interest. But yeah, like I was saying, tell me, like, have you revisited your stash? You know, are you getting excited about some of the papers? Like it's like shopping and finding new things and new ideas to do. Like, let me know how that's going. And, you know, are you kind of overwhelmed by it? You can see some of the other bones. So we'll just put that little puppy right there and tie that into that. That looks good. And then my friend got me some cute dog stamps. Like, look at that. Life is better with a dog, furry friend. I just want to stay home and hang out with my dog. Stay positive. You had me at Wolf, little dog house. And then this one, I'm using the dog dish. Cold nose, warm heart. If that isn't true, home is where the dog is. So really cute. A lot of little fun, like the dog bones, which are great to stamp on the background. Paw prints to stamp on a background too. Like I could do paw prints all the way around the edge here if I wanted to. But because I've got paw prints on the paper, I'm just leaving it clean right now. But I do have the dish that says puppy on it, and I need to make sure that it's right side up. And we're just going to come in and stamp it right at the bottom of the journal box. And I don't need it to be big and bold. I just need it to have a nice little spot there to finish that out. And there we go. Like, how perfect is that? It probably could use another stamping, but you know what? That's how we're leaving it. I don't want it to be super bold. All right, so that finishes off that area. And like I said, I don't have a cut title yet, but I think I want to do a cut title, and I've got to get my cutting machine up and running better. It's not been behaving. All right, I want to make sure I've used all my embellishments. I have. I will tell her story here. When we picked her up, too, the breeder was like, you know, they don't stay this little for long, so you might really just want to let them sleep with you, you know. And I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know. But they, I thought for the first 2 nights, to help me not feel anxious, I thought, you know what, I'll just have the puppy sleep with me. Let's just see how it goes. And I had her sleep with me for 2 nights, and I called the breeder. I'm like, so how long have you let a puppy sleep with you? Like to adulthood? And they're like, oh no. Like I was too terrified that they'd pee on the bed. We're fortunate she did not ever pee on the bed, but she slept curled up in me. Like I tend to sleep in a fetal position. She slept curled up by my neck and nestled her head like she was in her puppy pile. She nestled her head right up in my neck and kind of bunched herself up. And then in the morning, I woke up and she was chewing on my hair. But she was just so sweet. And she really bonded with me with that. I don't know that I would recommend that to everybody, but I enjoyed it. I did it for 2 nights, and then we put her little super small baby crate right by the bed so that I could put my hand down at night, and she could smell my hand and stuff. All right, so this is the layout. Using 2-year-old stash of Go Fetch papers, but, you know, again, using whatever you have. And then, you know, just creating some areas for your eye to rest with, you know, all that's going on here. But using a mix of different, you know, embellishments from different places. You know, the stamping, this came from another spot, and then creating my own tags. So yes, comment below. Let me know how you like this. Tell me your fun puppy stories, and also share with how you're digging into your stash and what you're finding and maybe what you're getting excited about again. I'm trying to do that. I need to use my stash. So we'll get going with that. All right, well, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great weekend coming up of scrapbooking and getting your memories done. Just take one step, get your photos out, organize your photos, take one step towards getting things done so you don't feel overwhelmed. Anyway, you can find me on Facebook. That is where I show the finished layout. I usually post pictures on there, the finished layout. That's where I also put up new collections coming from Creative Memories, since I represent them. I'm also on Instagram now, both places under Scrapbook Your Legacy with Carrie. So on Instagram, I post finished layouts of other layouts that you don't see necessarily on here. And that is just to inspire. I want to inspire you to get things done and get going. So those are more inspirational. Here is, I told you I would show this to you. So let me get these out of the way because they'll just take away from it. This is the title page for Fern's section of my pet album. So a friend of mine gave me this Fern punch. So I did first and second generation stamping. And I did some paper tearing. This was a sketch that I altered. Both of these papers here went all the way across. So I brought it back and did the stamping. And then I did paper tearing here to create some interest. So if you like this layout for a title page, I would just take these papers all the way over, or you could do the same thing. Cut out a tag, you know, a little box that could be a title, and then I'm just going to have her name here. I have a cut title of Fern and then put the date down here. So this is her after we had picked her out. A little cute face is what I fell in love with. And this is this past fall where she's quite large. But anyway, that is a title page idea. And so I just wanted to share that with you. This is also on my Instagram page to get, you know, people thinking about, you know, their scrapbooking again. So anyway, so you can see how this is going. This is the next page. The page in between here and here is the day that we picked her out. So Fern, one last little bit before I go, Fern is actually named for the farm girl, because my Fern was born on a farm. She's named for Charlotte's Web, for little Fern who had Wilbur in Charlotte's Web. So that's where Fern's name came from. Both lived on a farm. All right. Well, again, have a wonderful weekend. And like I said before, I hope you get to do some scrapbooking. All right. Talk to you later and see you next week. Bye-bye.